All right, so let's start off with our first theme, hard work. And so we have six themes we're going to go through, making a note that Marco and Danny have a hard stop at 11 o'clock. So I'm going to ask the panelists to be efficient, if I could say, with your answers, and certainly we'll give you a chance to follow up and revisit if necessary. So hard work is basic. Everyone's expected to do it, but not everyone does it. And I think about was saying that a lot of athletes say, first to practice and last to leave. So you hear a lot about that too. So hard work is expected, but not everyone does it. So I just wanted to ask Annie, Danny, James, and Lauren just to take a stab at why hard work is so important for your career. So anyone, if you can jump in.
I don't mind going first. One of my professors in college said, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think that's been something really important. And I've followed a lot in my career is, when I was getting started and, going to classes in high school, I took some television classes and learned I really enjoyed it and got to do an internship with the Pittsburgh Penguins and see what they do with their scoreboard room and how that all works. And from there, I would try and do any little freelance job and make the connections and do as much as possible. So that way I positioned myself best when I was going into the field professionally looking for jobs, because we know these are the most coveted jobs in sports. Everyone wants to work in sports. So I would do whatever I could to make my resume look as good as possible. And also every event you work, you learn from. Everything changes in an event. You can have a plan and then something's going to change. So it's very important. You've got to put in the work, just like you don't go on the field, without putting in the practice, whether it's weight rooms, trainings, exercise, all that. It's the same thing when you are, in this field, and you have to continue to work hard. And, you're pulling the cases, to get, take stuff. You're in the weeds the whole time. So I always think it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And you just got to put in the work to, it doesn't matter. Take the internship, take the free paying gigs, if you're able to. It's all important because it gets you where you need to go. And you just got to keep working, and now with COVID, it's a whole different world as well. And hopefully we get closer to normal again, but you've got to put in that work to continue to succeed. So I think it's one of the most important lessons. And that's what I look for when I'm looking for employees, is people who are going to do the work, who, did more. Being an athlete's important. Are you able to do other things as well? When you can be part of organizations, volunteer, whatever it is. Because I don't want someone just from the classroom. I want someone who's doing stuff outside. So being an athlete's important because I know you're putting in the work there. And if you're able to do any other internships or gigs or shadow, I went to a lot of places and just asked to shadow and be like, hey, can I just come up and watch your operation for a game and see what you do? And a lot of people will say yes. So we were in your shoes once before as well. So it's very important. Just continue to work hard throughout your career and you'll keep finding success.
Very nice, Annie. Danny, you want to go ahead and jump in on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that hard work is actually, it's part of the reason I think why people want to be in a career like sports, because we all know that every occupation, it requires hard work, whether it's, you're a construction worker, you're television producer, whatever you are. Hard work is kind of a part of any job that you'll take. So I think the important thing is to figure out what your passion is. And if it's a career in sports, obviously, you end up realizing that you don't necessarily think of it as hard work, you think of it as passion. And I think of one of the key traits that I know that ESPN recruiters look for is passion. And it doesn't have to be passion for a team or a league or a sport. I mean, there's people obviously who are in those departments who love sports and want to produce sports content specifically or follow storylines or leagues. But passion as an editor, passion as a designer, passion in the sales department. And that's one of the things that I think at ESPN especially that they look for, is having that type of passion. And then the passion drives the work. Because if you're passionate about what you're doing, you will take the unpaid internship, you will go shadow, you'll go above and beyond. And I was fortunate in high school to be in a school, even it was a public school, but we had a really great television program and courses where I would actually produce live TV 3 times a week in high school. But then when I went to college, the opportunities to do that similar work actually weren't there at the University of Arizona. But then I was able to get a job as a basketball manager for University of Arizona basketball team under Lute Olson. And I mean, I worked 40 to 50 hours a week, but it wasn't work. I mean, this is my favorite team. It's, you know, probably my favorite non-athlete is Lute Olson. So I remember when I left, you know, the program and I met with Coach Olson, I told him I was going to ESPN. The one thing he told me was to keep my same work ethic, to be the person who stayed late, to be the person who asked for more. And, you know, at that moment, it was very validating to hear that from him because he appreciated my hard work. But in reality, I was just having fun. And I think that was kind of the moral of the story is like, I did my full course load. I did, you know, I graduated and was able to balance both, but it wasn't because I was like working hard. It was because I was having a great time.
Very cool. Thank you, Danny. James, can you jump in next?
Yeah, I think there's two things that kind of resonate with me is number one, it's the common trait with everyone on this panel and the people that make it in business and sports, but it's one of those things that whenever you mishire, you kind of realize it, more often than not, it's because of work ethic. Something slipped through and it's not someone that's willing to put in the dedication and the hard work. But the other thing is it's the thing you can control, right? So you're in this dynamic industry with all these talented people and they have such amazing skill sets. The one thing you can control is, you know, how much you're willing to put in. And so I think, you know, especially in sales, we look at the person next to us and we say, how many calls are they making? How many appointments are they setting? How hard are they working at improving their skill sets and their craft? So for me, I've always loved that it's the one thing that I can completely control is how hard I'm going to go and I can compare it with the people around me.
Very cool. Thank you. And Lauren, why don't you wrap us up with that next?
Yeah, I echo everything that my fellow panelists have said. You know, this is, you know, something where this industry is really what you make of it. You know, sports is a great industry to be in, but it's also not for the faint of heart. This is not a 9-to-5 industry. This is something that, you know, after you're, you know, running around the ballpark after a long homestand, like you're questioning how many hours and what time of day it is. But it's definitely something where, you know, some of the best benefits I've gotten out of my job are, you know, collaborating with people in other departments and doing something that, you know, isn't exactly in my job description, but ultimately builds my skill set or, you know, makes a campaign run better, and really just going above and beyond, you know, what your typical job entails. So I think that, you know, hard work is especially important, and also networking, to make sure that, you know, all the people that you're working with, you're building relationships with them.
Very good. All right, so some quick themes from what I heard. And there's a lot of great stuff shared, obviously, but going above and beyond, because this industry certainly is not for the faint of heart. Hard work is the one thing you can control, and then passion drives the work, and then obviously just putting in the work and just continuing to keep doing it. All right, so thank you all for addressing that. So